Hello, today's video is going to be about my 5K race day. I'll focus on the week before, how I prepared, how I tapered and rested before the race, and I'll focus a little bit on the race itself, my strategy going into it, whether I carried that strategy out or not. And finally, I'll focus on my recovery afterwards. Okay, thanks for watching, and please like this video if it helped you, and subscribe. Thank you. Hello, I'm Tom. I'm a 65-year-old runner. This last Sunday, my wife and I ran the Bridgeway Run for Autism 5K. This was my second race back after getting injured in December. I injured my right calf and had to take 13 days off, and then the rehab comeback took quite a while, and so here I am back racing again. I'm glad to say that I didn't aggravate anything. That right calf is completely healed now, and my latest niggle is a painful right knee, and that didn't get aggravated either. I'm not going to talk so much about training, but rather my taper during the 1 week prior to the race. This is my typical taper. And a taper, by the way, is resting up before a big race. I usually start at 1 week before running a 5K. So 7 days before a 5K race, I'll do a workout. I call it the surge workout. For me, as a older runner, it's not all that intense. It's just kind of a sharpening workout that I typically do before 1 week before a race. It involves 4 times 30-second surges with 1.5 minute semi-rest intervals. Normally, if you do an interval workout, the rest interval is quite a bit. You either walk it off or do a slow jog in between the reps. Well, in this case, I maintain a tempo pace. I'll do a 30-second surge at, I would call it mile race pace, a little bit faster than 5K race pace, but it's followed by 1.5 minutes at tempo pace before you do the next rep. After taking 2 days off from the surge workout, I did a 4-mile easy run, beginning with 4 strides. So strides for me are 15 to 20 seconds long. They're usually they start out, the first stride starts out kind of slow, 5K race pace. Second stride, a little bit faster. Third stride, a little bit faster. The fourth stride is going to be at, say, 800-meter race pace, even though I don't ever run 800-meter races. And the rest is, roughly about a minute and a half. Easy jog in between those strides. Those strides work as part of my warm-up. And I'll go ahead and explain my warm-up. So after the easy 4 mile run, took another day off. 2 days before, I did an easy 2 miles, and that began with 4 strides as well as part of the warm up. Then the next day, I ran 1.8 miles. 1.8 miles is kind of my weird, superstitious, customary distance as a shakeout the day before a race. Then came race time. I do have a pre-race diet. This race was a little bit unusual because it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Most races are in the morning, but the Bridgeway Run for Autism was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So that required a bit of an adjustment to my pre-race nutrition. So I had a kind of a regular breakfast. I decided to go protein because it was going to have several hours to digest. So I ate 3 eggs and a small serving of quinoa. Quinoa happened to be in the dinner the night before. So this happened at around 9 o'clock in the morning or 9:30 in the morning. And so lots of time to digest. But then 2 hours before the race, I finished my normal pre-race breakfast. It was the small serving of oatmeal, 1/3 of a sliced banana, a small amount of honey. And that was the pre-race nutrition. So that had basically 2 hours to digest before race time. I'll just explain my warm-up routine before I get into the actual race itself. My warm-up starts about a half hour before race time. I begin with a 5-minute walk. Then I move into a 7-minute easy run. Then after the easy run, I do a dynamic warm-up routine, a little bit of some mobility movements. Then after the mobility movements, I move into 4 strides at 5K race pace, the last stride being a little bit quicker at mile race pace. And so that's the end of the warm-up, and that usually ends about 5 minutes or so before the start of the race. Okay, now I'll describe the Bridgeway Run for Autism 5K and what my strategy and tactics were, and whether or not I carried out this strategy. My goal was to run negative splits, and I am happy to say that I achieved that. It was just about even pace. Ran the first mile, forced myself to go incredibly slow. I tend to start probably slower than most people because I feel like I really go into oxygen debt bad if I go even at an even pace at the start. So my theory is that I can stave off oxygen debt if I start out really slow. I'll run the first 50 yards at a pretty slow pace and then kind of pick it up and to where I'm at my goal pace by the time the first mile comes around. Hit the first mile as planned. Then I picked it up a little bit the second mile and ran about 3 to 4 seconds faster than the first mile. And then I finished pretty strong, ran the last mile about 3 to 4 seconds faster than the second mile. So I'm pleased to say that I carried out my goal. In the past, I have not been good about running negative splits. Usually it's positive splits. So this time I'm happy to say that I carried it out. Did a good job. Okay, now I'll explain what I did post-race recovery, that is. Well, I try to get in at least a half a mile of a cool down after a race and accomplish that barely. Sometimes I'm just plain too tuckered. So if my wife Denise is running in the same race, my usual routine is when I finish is to go back and find her and cheer her on as she finishes hers. And so that's what I did, and happy to say both Denise and I finished the race injury-free without aggravating any previous injuries. And then part of our recovery strategy is to eat a nice meal afterwards. Very important. So Denise and I, after the race, we Went and had a nice Mexican dinner. Now I'll go ahead and explain what I do for recovery in the days that follow the race. I have to take 2 complete days off from any kind of physical activity after a race. This is to prevent injury. Racing, especially racing on pavement, is the single biggest stressor for me. So in fact, there's been a couple of races in the past where I've gotten injured during a race. And so I have to really be careful. And sometimes that injury doesn't crop up until 1 or 2 or 3 days after the race. So all the more reason to take 2 complete days of rest. So that's what I did and felt pretty good. Didn't feel any niggles or pains or that kind of a thing. The right knee still has some small niggles. So 3 days after the race was my first run, which just happened to be yesterday. So I ran 4 very easy miles, no strides, and I was tired. My body just did not want to go faster than my normal easy run pace, and so it was definitely a recovery run. I really felt it, but I'm happy to say that did not feel pain other than a slight niggle in that right knee, but that's becoming normal for me. Actually, that right knee is kind of a persistent problem. My physical therapist has given me the okay to go ahead and continue to run despite the mild niggles in that right knee. And so here we are today. And speaking of my physical therapist, I do have an appointment later this afternoon with him. And I'll explain to him the race, how it went, whether I aggravated anything, and I'll give him the good news that I did not aggravate anything. And the physical therapist, he may graduate me today. I've had several sessions that were actually a response to that injury that I got back in December. And during the recovery process, even though I came back really slowly, my body had a lot of aches and pains. I had everything from pain in my left arch, pain in my upper right hamstring, pain in the right knee, a little bit of pain in the hip, lots of pains. They're kind of normal. Part of the process is learning to recognize which ones I can run through and which ones I need to rest through, as in take a couple of days off. And if they're extra bad, well, I'll set up an appointment with the physical therapist. But he may graduate me after today. I'm hoping that he will. And hopefully he'll leave me with a couple of strength exercises to do on a long-term basis for injury prevention. So tomorrow, I'm going to put in a 5-mile run, easy, no strides. Then I'll listen to my body, see how it feels, and then take a day off, and hopefully I'll be back to my normal training. My normal training is three days of running per week, for a total of 19 miles. One of those days is a hard day where I do some anaerobic work, maybe a tempo run, threshold run, maybe some intervals. I don't do intervals all that often. That 3 days also includes one long run. Basically, I put in a 6-mile easy run, 7-mile easy long run, and 6-mile harder workout. Okay, that's a description of race day for me, and preparation before the race, recovery afterwards. Denise and I plan on running the miles on Memorial next. That's going to be on Memorial Day. It's going to be another 5K. So I hope you found this video useful, and we'll see you next time. Happy running.